Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. So we've got tons to talk about today, and the main focus of this video is going to be about XRP in terms of TA. We touched a lot on news last week, and I want to cover the technical side of XRP a little bit. But just before we do that, I want to just show you a few pieces of news that did come out over the last day or so. Just before we get into the technical side, I think one of the most important pieces of information that I've seen recently is this clip here. So go and check that out on my X. It's David Schwartz talking at Ondo Finance's, I don't know what you want to call it, their presentation day, where they announced what they're going to do in the future. I think it was called Ondo Summit. But very important to the potential future of cryptocurrency. David Schwartz said, I think we're on the cusp of mass institutional adoption, both DeFi and other blockchain technologies. And they talk about a few other things in there as well. And then to give us a bit of an indication as to what we might need to see as catalysts for XRP to be able to make this next move up before we get into XRP specifically, I just want to show you a few things that I'm personally looking at. One of the things is gold and gold's relationship to Bitcoin. So let me just I wanted to show you this in real time, basically what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put just gold onto the 4 hourly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to Bitcoin. So I press the plus at the top of the screen here, and then press new price scale when you compare it to Bitcoin. And what we can see is, I'm just going to move this on the left here just so I can move this Bitcoin line around. So what we're going to do is pretty much overlay it to where we were, in this little range here from mid-November up until mid-Jan. What you can see actually is that gold and Bitcoin have been inversely correlated during this time. Let me see if I can try and resize this to make it a bit easier for everyone, because it's going off the top of my screen for some reason. But let me just move gold down to make it smaller and move Bitcoin down to make that smaller as well, just so we can fit it nicely on the screen. But yeah, let's just say we can make it almost size. Look, this range, what you can see is Bitcoin and gold pretty much chopping, and then as Bitcoin breaks down, gold breaks out to the upside. So that's one thing that I've been monitoring recently. So we can from this potentially deduce or deduct that if gold maybe starts to top out and moves down, then Bitcoin, it might give the reprieve for Bitcoin. Maybe capital's rotating from between gold and Bitcoin at this moment when there's times of uncertainty in the market. But if we look on the whole, they are correlated, not completely, but there is correlation. When Bitcoin's down, gold is down, and when Bitcoin starts to go up, gold does go up. But as I said, not exactly at the same time. As you can see here, when gold broke out, Bitcoin lagged, and then Bitcoin broke out and gold lagged, and now it looks like gold's breaking out again. So maybe there's an arbitrage play there between Bitcoin and gold, but what I'm just making the point of is keep your eye on gold in the short term to see if that has a reprieve in its rally, and whether that allows Bitcoin to run in the short term. And we look at Bitcoin, we use that as a bit of an indicator for crypto as a whole. It's quite hard for cryptos in general to move massively when Bitcoin is going down. So another thing to point out here, and maybe a reason why gold is rallying, is because the DXY is dropping, and we talked about this in the last video, because of the JOLTS report. So job openings in the US are less, meaning they might need to stimulate the economy, meaning that the US dollar might weaken, and then that obviously could potentially cause uncertainty, and maybe is why gold's going up. One of the reasons. There's a lot more in terms of geopolitics and what's going on around the world at the minute, but they're just some indicators that I want you guys to keep your eyes on, because Bitcoin itself is actually just chopping quite nicely within a range. And then the next indicator, making it more towards altcoins specifically now, that I want you guys to watch or keep an eye on, is the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is still within this parallel ascending channel. I spoke about the potential of it making it to the 67.5%. That's where most alt seasons have started historically. Look, if you see, this is the 2017 alt season. It was about 71% in 2017, and then we broke down. And then in 2021, we had 72% and a breakdown. But realistically, the alt season didn't really kick off until we lost this 60-odd% level, 65%. So I would keep your eye on the 65%-ish level for a potential alt season. But then you have to also take into consideration the new tokens that have come into circulation. So there are a lot more viable options, including stable coins, which takes away from Bitcoin's market cap as well, potentially in terms of being a safety trade and like the hedge asset. So would that mean that the alt season might start from lower, potentially from where this wick could be, if we see a significant breakdown? So that's the other thing to take into consideration. Now looking at XRP specifically, I tweeted yesterday. One thing I want to touch on just before we just jump into XRP is Bitcoin has a lot of liquidity above it. So I think inevitably we do move up, but I don't think we should rule out the possibility of the liquidity being swept below us. So although open interest is falling, so the likelihood of a flush down is less likely. So because when we get a flush, it's when like open interest like cascades to the downside. Basically one order stops out another, and then that stops out the next, and then it leads into a cascade in like liquidation. We have open interest dropping, but I still don't want to rule out the liquidity below us. But I think inevitable that we move up to the upside at some point. It's just trying to time when that could be. So now XRP, this is what we're here for. On the daily time frame, if we do get an engulfing candle today, it could be the start of a move back to the upside. If you haven't yet watched Credible Crypto's video, I think you should definitely go and check that out. If you haven't yet listened to Arthur Hayes, his recent article, definitely go and check that out. I think it's good for to have like a whole view on the cryptocurrency space. I personally believe, and you can see from the charts, like I can compare XRP to pretty much any chart, the XRP is leading in terms of price action so far this run. We're just waiting for the next leg of this move. And I'm just going to show you some reasons why I think that could be sooner rather than later. But again, sooner could be, as you guys know, like this, even just from the 30th of Jan, it's like a week ago now, we've lost this much price action, which is around 27%. So in a week, like that isn't a lot of time, but a lot of price action has developed. Just the same as when we're in this area here, within 1 week, realistically, we probably gained like 108%. So anything can change in short periods of time. Trying to time when that catalyst comes is very difficult, but looking at what is structurally happening in the market is where you want to be like focusing your time and attention, not necessarily to the time and exactly when it's going to happen, in my opinion. So XRP holding the mid-range. I want to show you the XRP dominance chart because I think that's probably the most interesting as what I've looked at so far. We've put it on the 3-day. So now we're on the 3-day. What we can see is XRP very nicely back tested the top of the previous range that was holding us down as resistance. Held that as support. We saw some aggressive buying coming out of that area that wicked us back out above this recent cluster where we got stuck. And we're now above all of those levels. Still held them very nicely as support and a big rejection. I think this is something people should pay a lot of attention to. XRP dominance gives us an idea of how much obviously market cap XRP is taking in the market, but also the strength of XRP compared to other assets in the market. If we look at XRP ETH, this is still one of the best charts in my opinion in crypto. I think it's pretty clear that we are in an impulsive move to the upside. Maybe my wave count is wrong. I haven't reassessed this yet, but as of historically or previously, I think the next wave could take us to all-time highs against ETH and XRP, Bitcoin. Let me just get us on that. Now this one, we didn't break any structure, but what we did do is sweep liquidity potentially below, close or not close, but wick into this fair value gap here on this push out. Use that again, showed major strength from that area, bought back up, and are still battling with a key resistance level. We did get the break above it, but let's see if we can get some closes above this level here is what I've been talking to you guys about as the last key level of resistance, really. What I've been saying to you guys previously is if we get a close, there's a further, it was about 40%, now it's 70 from where we are now. If we get a 70% larger close against Bitcoin, what we should do is really start to make our way up to this area here. For some reason, I've been taken off the logarithmic. Let me just show, it's probably because I was comparing those other charts, but let me just show you that. If we get that close above this level, then we can potentially get another 100 or so percent against Bitcoin, and that's what I'll be looking to do. But XRP in the short term is anybody's guess. It does depend on what Bitcoin does. But structurally, what I'm trying to show you in this video is nothing has changed. Stochastic RSI, let me take you to the daily. Stochastic RSI in the daily has spent pretty much a week and a half in the oversold area, looking to get that move up. The daily RSI, we've got a hidden bullish divergence potentially forming here, which is where we have a higher low in terms of price action there and a lower low on the RSI here. Look, that's a hidden bullish divergence there for the daily RSI. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion, until we see some positive price action. I think that if you take a zoomed out perspective, the biggest financial economy in the world is opening its arms to crypto, and we've got a flush out on that news. It's probably the best buying opportunity that I've seen in a long time if things continue the way they are, especially in the US, and I think they will. I think it's in Trump's best interest to please American voters, a lot of those who are holders of crypto, for his party in the future, even after he departs. And I also think it can benefit them financially in the US. So hold your bags tight. Don't get too caught up in emotion hype, and don't get too caught up in short-term price action of open interest is getting flushed out at the minute, which is great. It's fine. If I had capital, I would be accumulating. Personally, that's where I stand. I think XRP is going to be one of the leaders, and you can check that out, as I said, by just monitoring XRP dominance. That chart looks fantastic. XRP versus ETH looks decent. XRP versus Bitcoin looks decent. XRP versus the dollar looks decent. What we're trying to do is pick the fastest or the best asset, not fastest in terms of fundamentals, but fastest in terms of that can move to the upside and upside potential. Brad Gardenhouse potentially could be on the US crypto board or whatever it's going to be called. I think they'll probably, like if I'm taking away from the technical side here and just making some speculation, I think they'll probably do something positive for Ripple, as it's been very, in my opinion, unfairly targeted by the SEC. I think it's only right that the US make that right for Ripple, and I think that we'll probably see that in the coming weeks, if not months. Let's see, could be wrong with that, but that's where I basically stand. And the charts are basically showing us that the next leg up is going to be aggressive and probably come sooner than we think. So all of that added together kind of makes sense. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe and share it with a friend. If you want to trade on leverage, be careful, but use MEXC. I've got a partner link for them in the description below. And if you want to trade XRP memes, I also have an affiliate link for those in the description below. Hope you enjoyed. Please do share. As I said, any questions, please let me know in the comments or over there on X. Peace up. A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.